Beautiful music there by Zeze Band. You can enjoy a lot more of that music as we continue. Well, we continue with our news review panel with Martha Wangari, nominated Senator, Vincent Kimoso, political analyst, Isaac Mwaura, nominated MP, and Peter Kaluma, Member of Parliament for Homa Bay. And of course, that discussion about corruption and what is going on will continue even as we talk about other headlines. I'm sure he will keep on coming back to that and referring to it. Of course, an update on that story, and I've seen this on the Standard. The 5.3 billion shilling scandal at Afya House has taken a new twist after it emerged that registration details of companies involved in the transactions have gone missing from the State Law Office. Now, staff at the company's registry were yesterday unable to trace the files for Estama Investments, registered as an EPZ company, and Life Care Medics. The two companies were beneficiaries of cash meant for patients, expectant mothers, and newborn babies. Records of a third supplier, MedAfrica, were non-existent, raising questions about its identity. Now, without the files, it is impossible to unmask the people behind what may turn out to be the biggest scandal yet in the Jubilee administration.
Fred, you know, Estama Limited, isn't it?
we need to move on from this discussion.
Okay, thank you.
And now, yesterday something very interesting happened in, at the Senate. Of course, the two houses of parliament have been probing different levels of corruption in different sectors. The Auditor General's report, counties misappropriating funds, and yesterday was a turn of Governor Mwangi from Murang'a County to be questioned by the Senate's Public Finance Committee. Yes, County Public Accounts Committee. Now, that session ended abruptly yesterday after a heated debate between the Murang'a Governor Mwangi and Senator Kembi Getura from Murang'a. Wairia was declared a hostile witness after he accused Getura, who is expected to challenge the governor in next year's elections, of using his deputy speaker position to undermine him. Check this out.
Not interrogate anything which was interrogated then, and that is our position as a county government, not because we don't want, but because we have given information. And this particular issue, Senator Kembi Getura has politicized it in public.
And for the governor to understand that here I'm subject to your rules of procedure and have no power, no capacity to have you summoned to the Senate committee. You are here. The governor may think it's an easy thing. He may think it's political. He may think because there's so much money, that 340 million shillings is rich money. But if the valuation in 2015 was 194.4 million shillings, Mr. Chairman.
By who?
By a private valuer.
We also have valuers.
By a private valuer.
We have government and private.
Mr. Chairman, please,
I will not allow this to happen. Governor, even if it's a committee, you're not going to bring your politics here. No, we also brought valuers, and even a
governor, please.
I will not allow.
No. If you want, yeah, that's okay.
You can if you wish.
I will not allow you to do your politics here. We also have valuers.
You can go.
I will not allow you, Kembi.
Mr. Chairman.
I will not allow you.
Governor, order.
Mr. Cruz, at that point, you are bringing your fake valuations. We have a government.
No, you bought your valuers. You bought your valuers.
I will not allow this. Did I buy the government?
You bought the valuers.
So
you bred them. The government is corrupt.
The president of Murang'a, I will not allow this.
No.
We have a valuation by the government.
Chairman, do you have a sergeant at arms?
You go and do another valuation.
Yes, Governor, please.
You are not in the procurement process, so that you can present your valuations here.
Respect the chair.
And you can actually do a current valuation. I would not allow you to malign my name, Kembi, because we are in a committee.
Order.
You know me.
Bonnie, please. Bonnie, yes? Please, can we get some order here?
By the competent authority. There was even a valuer from the government. There were minutes. There were all these things were there, Mr. Chairman. But the committee had concerns with the whole process, because whether is evaluation, how.
Yes, and you see Governor Mwangi Wairia there walking out of a Senate committee hearing, which was attended by Senator Martha Wangari. We saw you there looking a bit offensive. And you witnessed all this exchange. And it is quite sad because there are serious issues raised in this matter. But are we doing it wrong? Probably Bona Kimoso. What's the problem? Because is this the way to resolve or to seek a solution to corruption issues, really?
And I think we are, when we started here, we said accountability is one of our national values. So Senate, Parliament has been given, the committees of Parliament have actually the powers of a High Court to summon any individual to answer any question. So in terms of accountability, it's okay to call people to be accountable for their actions. Because even Chapter 6 says leaders are accountable in private and in public for their conduct of their affairs. So on an accountability, that's okay. But from a governance perspective, I am concerned with the Senate summoning governors to come and answer issues that actually, if you look on institutionally, are the preserve of county assemblies. In my view, if I was advising Senate, the Senate should be focusing their energies on their national government resources that ought to have gone to the counties, because they are custodians of devolution, and facilitating county assemblies to even exercise their role. The other question also is, why is it that also that there are times only very keen to ensure that it is the governor coming? Because if you are really interested on issues of accountability, then you can get the CEC responsible for finance. So that's a debate I know I and Wangari can have, because it has technical and political implications. I am not sure if it can be resolved, but that for me is my concern with the Senate. Then moving forward is also the element of, why don't we, conducting yourself in a civil, for example, the Speaker of the Senate is from Murang'a. The Deputy Speaker is from Murang'a County. It is already in public domain that he has an interest in the governor's position of Murang'a County. So there is also a conflict of interest issue, and this is the time when the Senate needs to facilitate devolution by ensuring if somebody has a direct interest on a matter, you know, even the way we deal with conflicts of interest, you declare, and then a procedure on how that debate and how that interrogation ought to go, so that ultimately the desire to achieve accountability is not lost in the politics and the competition that we witnessed.
Bwana Kimosop is saying that probably the Senate sessions are not genuinely seeking to unearth or to resolve something, but rather just a witch hunt against governors, because senators want to be governors themselves.
You know, we have two levels of government. First, we have 48 governments in Kenya, and I think we need to live with that reality. One national government and a government in each of the 47 counties. So what we have in Murang'a, just as what we have in Nairobi and Homa Bay, are governments. And the governors head the county governments. The president, of course, heads the national government. Look at how money moves if you are genuinely thinking of accountability. When the national revenue in totality is being shared by the National Assembly and with the participation of the Senate as ordered by the Supreme Court, we put a knife and we say the national government money, the money that is to go to national government, is then left to the National Assembly to share among the department sectors of government. The monies that ought to go to the counties is given to the Senate. And all that the Senate does is to share this money among the counties. That is what the Constitution says. So that they'll say Homa Bay will get so much as against Nairobi. Now the money that goes to Homa Bay or Murang'a then lands on the desk of the county assembly of Murang'a. And it is the county assembly of Murang'a that will determine how much is going to water, how much is going to health, how much is going to those small roads down there, how much is going to, you know, those things that are devolved functions. Now, and that is why in terms of the Constitution, the actual expenditure, the budgeting for the monies that have gone into a county, their expenditure and primary oversight is with the county assembly up there. Now, it becomes therefore something that you may begin seeing is not genuine when, you know, the Senate wants to be the primary institution of oversight. Ideally, you should be having the county assembly easily interrogating how much money did we take to health, which dispensary was it to build, and is that dispensary there? That is why the members of the county assembly are called honorable members like us, so that the National Assembly is to the national government what the county assembly is to the county government. Now, look at what we have instead. You know, the other day I watched the PAC chair, the current chair, Professor Nyong'o, seated there, and they're interrogating Ranguma. And he's running against Ranguma. You know, then you deflect the matter from the real issues as Kimoso rightly says, to your village politics in Kisumu or Murang'a. Look at what was happening yesterday. That Wairia is there. Deputy Speaker Kembi Gitura is not even a member of that committee. But for purposes of their local things there, he's going there with papers, he's saying, oh, the evaluation not to have been this. And of course, what should be a genuine accountability forum, you know, is lost. Yes. What I would say is that at the level of National Assembly, you've never seen us call the president. Even for the budget of State House itself, leave alone the office of the president. We never call them. We have ministers. We have people in State House who can account the accounting officers. If it is the judiciary, you don't call the Chief Justice. You deal straight away with the Chief Registrar of the judiciary. You know, you deal with the PS. In the county government, we have the county executive committee members. They call the ministers down there, rightly or wrongly. You have the chief executive officers. If Senate is genuinely pursuing money lost in a department or a ministry, if I were to call it generally in a county government, you know, there is nothing easier than if money was lost in the health, you know, docket of Homa Bay County. Call the CEC is the one expending. Yes. Why call the governor if not for politics? Senator Wangari, do you agree that probably such hearings are not necessarily genuinely seeking to resolve an issue, but rather political witch hunt?
I think we need to put these issues in perspective. For one, out of the 47, we have met over 40 county governments. It's only maybe 2 or 3 that have turned chaotic. I think we need to put it in perspective. Of course, they make better news, but yeah, they make better news, but most of them have actually had no issue in terms of the conduct of the committee. And so, my issue is one. The CEO of the county government is a governor. I think that is expressed. The mandate of the Senate is expressed in the Constitution. Oversight over the county, over the money that is allocated to the county government. The issue of appearance to the Senate has been actually a contracted issue. In fact, we have been, county governors have gone to court. In fact, they went and took over 10 months. Our work was stalled for over 10 months. And it was finally determined that it is right for them to appear and answer queries of audit issues and audit and management, and of course of how funds are spent. So that one we are not even in dispute. We waited patiently until that matter was resolved. We did not call any governor at that point. We waited until it was resolved. So to Honorable Kaluma, and the funny thing with this thing in the Muli is that you'll find even these members of parliament who want to be governors, when it is their county governor being grilled, even if they say it here on the set that they shouldn't, they come and tell you did a good job. And I'm thinking, you know, let us be honest, that we separate the issue, extraneous issues that come to committees. The integrity of the park committee has been very well guarded. We have pronounced ourselves in terms of civility, like Kimosop says, like the issue of Nairobi governor. You saw what happened with Sonko. We pronounced ourselves even on the floor that we do not support. But don't you think, therefore, it is necessary for Senator? Let me speak about the issue of yesterday, because I was in that meeting. Kaluma knows very well that as a member of parliament, you can attend any committee. Even if you're not a member. What you'll not have is a voting right. And those are the standing orders. So, in attendance of Kembi coming to that meeting, he's doing his work as a senator for Murang'a, and he's allowed to actually attend the meeting. What we do not allow as a committee are extraneous issues. What you said in a podium in Murang'a, what you said in a podium in Homa Bay, and we have pronounced ourselves on that issue. But we must accept to be asked questions. The Auditor General report, in fact, the Constitution says clearly that we are the ones to deal with that. The county assemblies, when we began, did not even have the independence that Parliament has today. We have made a conscious decision to actually separate their budgets, first of all, because when we started, they were relying on the governor in terms of paying their salaries, in terms of every financial operation, they were relying on the governor. We have so far done the law to separate that and build the capacity. And like yesterday, what Kembi was trying to table in that committee was actually a report from the county assembly. Let me give you an illustration. A park committee from Siaya County Assembly came to our park committee in the Senate, very distraught, because they were saying, we've tried to do this. We have actually seen the county governor pays 500,000 per month to the wife, 400,000 to the deputy governor's wife. We have done a report, but nothing has happened. What happened in Kisumu with the county assembly report in terms of the funds that were supposed to go to the ward development fund? Someone disappeared. You know, one county assembly member was actually found, I think, in Migori, loitering after 1 or 2 days. Those are the capacity issues that we are dealing with. That we have park committees from the county.
My question is
petitioning.
And probably this is a suggestion, and I don't know if Bwana Isaac Mwaura you would agree with me, but probably such hearings would have senators from the concerned counties actually withdraw, probably, like in the case of Kisumu, where you have Anyang' Nyong'o as a
chairing and Ranguma.
By the way, in Limuli, personally, I would say this. You know, even for Murang'a, I've never had Kembi say he'll vie for governor. I will tell you that for free. I've never had. But it is assumed that he will vie. I don't know whether or not he will vie. But the integrity of the committee has to be protected.
Exactly. Bwana Isaac Mwaura, because we need to rope you into this conversation as well.
I think I'm sitting here as a very sad Kenyan, because there's something very terribly wrong with our politics. Extremely. And sometimes some of us ask ourselves, when we resolve to join politics, whether we were coming into this kind of shenanigans. Because honestly, we are just wrong. We are just wrong. This country, we are doing things in a manner like, things are just, we are going to the dogs. This is what is happening, and let's just face the reality. And this is not even a matter of political dichotomy between CORD and Jubilee. Because what we are seeing happening in Murang'a, which is a predominantly Kikuyu area, we are also hearing stories from mother about Siaya. It is everywhere. And why are we stealing from the Kenyans to the point that now we are very happy to present cows and the goats and arrowroot seeds or whatever with our own personal foundations? Where are we getting this money? If we look at the history of everyone here, before we occupy these positions, there is something that is unaccounted for, you know, somewhere, where people have millions of shillings that they give as private donations, but at the same time, there is money being lost through inflation of contracts and even land valuation. So I think what I want to say is this: it is terribly wrong if you can come and interrogate your competitor. I think it's a very awkward moment. It is totally unacceptable, in my opinion. You should withdraw. And even if you are the chair of a committee, you should ask somebody else to chair that session, particularly. Even if you sit there as a member to ask questions that you want to ask, because there's a conflict of interest. And members of parliament have also been accused of rent-seeking. I've had private conversations with individuals who tell me, oh, this committee was given 11.5 million to share. But then somebody was complaining that money was not enough, and so therefore they exposed the person who had given the little money. These are the stories we are hearing. We hear of individuals who have very fat accounts, worth millions of shillings, yet we know how much a member of parliament is earning. We must call a spade a spade. Our country is going to the dogs, and no justice is being getting for Kenya.
And Isaac Mwaura just said something really dumbfounding, because you're actually saying that there exists corruption within parliamentary committees.
Yeah, there is.
Yes, and that is why it is also very painful for some members who have been de-whipped by their parties for being rebels. Because when you are forced out of the Public Accounts Committee, like you have by ODM, because you moved to Jubilee, you are unhappy. It could be said so. Quite a number of people are complaining, and Duale, the majority leader, is pushing for an order to clip political parties' powers from the whipping errant MPs. And this is a story from on the Star, and let me just read this. A double-pronged plot is thickening in Parliament to help opposition MPs de-whipped from committees to return, contrary to the wishes of their political parties. The whipped opposition MPs may find their work back to committees after the National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale and the Justice Committee launched 2 attempts to rescue them. Speaker Justin Muturi is expected to give a ruling on the constitutionality of removing members from committees following that request. And the Justice and Legal Affairs Chairman, Committee Chairman Samuel Chepkonga, has also filed a petition to change the standing orders. Now, the petition seeks to take away the powers of political parties to remove their members from committees. Clearly, the committees are very lucrative for members of the National Assembly and members of the Senate, and you have to admit, look at
some of them actually.
You just admitted that.
Yeah, but I think lucrative is not the word.
Honorable Wangari spoke well. We are not saying that, you know, governors or county governments should not account. We are talking about structural issues. If you look at the Constitution, what the Senate cannot deal with is expenditure, because immediate expenditures, the primary, you know, institution for them is the county assembly. Matters general audit can be done by the Senate. But all we are saying is that who should the Senate call? You get what I mean? If there has been theft in the Ministry of Agriculture in Homa Bay, for instance, what has the governor to do with it? Get that person in charge of that expenditure, and you'll get even more information. But most importantly, my sister, You know, you may say that Honorable Kembi Gitura was entitled to sit in the committee even if he's not a member. I agree.
He is.
But when you are producing documents as a witness, what is the procedure for it? Do you start lifting it where you are seated to say you are a friend of the committee in the manner I was doing? Then you ought to have been sworn in.
No, that's not what happened.
You ought to have been sworn in. You ought to have been sworn in. Then he gives evidence. And of course, Wairia can also, you know, give explanation.